What would you do if the man you loved, the man you carried financially and emotionally for 8 long years, suddenly looked at you with cold eyes and said the words that shattered everything? You're useless now. Get out of my house. My name is Elena Thompson, and that sentence came from my husband Marcus the night after his father's funeral. Just 24 hours earlier, I was still his wife, still believing we were a team. Then Victor Thompson's will was read, and $500 million landed in Marcus's lap like manna from heaven. Overnight, he went from jobless dreamer to multimillionaire. Overnight, I went from partner to parasite in his eyes. I remember standing in our cramped living room at 2 a.m., suitcase open on the floor, while he popped champagne and laughed with his new friends on speakerphone. My clothes were already half-stuffed in trash bags he'd thrown onto the front lawn. "I don't need dead weight anymore," he sneered. "You've always been holding me back." The security system beeped as he changed the locks right in front of me. I drove away in my beat-up Corolla with tears blurring the road, feeling smaller than I'd ever felt in my life. But here's the part that still gives me chills. Less than 24 hours later, that same man was on his knees in a lawyer's office, tears streaming, begging me, not to ruin him. And the lawyer? Mr. Hargrove was laughing so hard he could barely get the words out. In a world where money exposes who people really are faster than anything else, this story matters right now because it proves one brutal truth. Character doesn't hide behind a paycheck or a trust fund. It just waits for the moment the mask can finally drop. So stay with me, because when Mr. Hargrove finally reached the last page of Victor Thompson's will and read the one clause Marcus had completely ignored, my ex-husband's face turned the color of ash. And the person who ended up with everything? It wasn't him. Picture this. Double 12-hour shifts in the ER, coming home exhausted, feet throbbing, while my husband Marcus lounges on the couch, controller in hand, yelling at pixels on the screen. That was our life for years. I met him in 2018 at a little coffee spot downtown. He had this easy smile, endless stories about the next big thing. Apps, crypto, dropshipping, he chased every shiny trend. I fell for the ambition. We married in a small ceremony 6 months later. I thought we were partners. Reality hit fast. My nursing salary covered everything. Rent on our tiny apartment. Utilities. Groceries. His business expenses, laptops, courses, ads that never converted. He'd show me spreadsheets with projected millions. "Soon, Elena. Soon you'll quit and we'll travel." I'd believe him, because love makes you stupid sometimes. Short sentences for the truth. Bills arrived. I paid them. He didn't. He promised. Nothing changed. Friends pulled me aside. "He's using you." I'd snap back. "You don't understand, he's close." Deep down, doubt crept in. But I pushed it away. Marriage means loyalty, right? You don't abandon someone when they're between opportunities. He'd joke, "When I'm rich, babe, you'll thank me for making you wait." I'd laugh weakly. The irony burned later. Have you ever stayed with someone longer than you should because you already invested so much time? I had. Then the call came. Victor, Marcus's father, was terminal. Pancreatic cancer. Fast and merciless. Marcus started acting different. More calls to his dad. More talk about family business. I thought grief was changing him for the better. I was wrong. The funeral was coming. And with it, the money that would finally expose everything. But what happened at the will reading would break me in ways I never saw coming. At the funeral, Marcus barely shed a tear. He stood by the casket in his rented black suit, eyes dry, already calculating what came next. I held his hand out of habit. He squeezed once, then let go. The service ended. Family gathered at the lawyer's office downtown. Mr. Hargrove, Victor's longtime attorney, cleared his throat and opened the thick folder. Pages rustled. Everyone leaned in. "To my son Marcus Thompson," he began, "I leave the controlling interest in Thompson Holdings, the family estate in the Hamptons, liquid assets, investment portfolios, and associated holdings, valued collectively at approximately $500 million. The room exploded in gasps. Marcus's fist clenched under the table. His grin spread slow and sharp, like he'd just won the lottery twice. I sat stunned, happy for him. Finally, his big break had arrived. We drove home in silence at first. Then he turned up the music, some victory rap track, and started talking fast.
Yachts.
Private jets. We're done scraping by, Elena. Done. That night changed everything. I was in the kitchen making tea when he stormed in. Face flushed. Eyes hard. I don't need you anymore, he said. You're useless now. Dead weight. Get out.
Short.
Brutal. Final. He grabbed my arm, dragged me toward the door. My clothes hit the lawn in heaps. Trash bags next. He changed the locks while I stood frozen on the porch. Rain started falling. Cold. Relentless. I got in my car.
Drove.
Tears mixing with rain on the windshield. Have you ever had someone erase 8 years of your life in under 10 minutes? I felt worthless. Invisible. Used up. But the next morning I filed for divorce papers anyway. Little did I know, Marcus was about to learn the real price of throwing me away. And when we both ended up back in that lawyer's office 24 hours later, he wasn't the one in control anymore. 24 hours after he changed the locks and called me useless, Marcus was on his knees in Mr. Hargrove's office. Literally on his knees. I walked in wearing yesterday's jeans and a hoodie, hair still damp from crying in a cheap motel shower. He looked up, eyes red, face swollen. Elena, please. I was wrong. Don't do this. I love you. We can fix it. I didn't answer. I just sat. Mr. Hargrove leaned back in his leather chair, arms crossed, fighting a smile. He opened the will again. Same thick folder. Same rustle of pages. Marcus, he said calmly, did you actually read past page 3? Marcus froze. What? The lawyer tapped a highlighted paragraph. Voice steady. Almost amused. Victor included a condition precedent. The entire estate, $500 million, transfers to you only if you remain legally married to Elena Thompson at the time of distribution. Should divorce proceedings be initiated by either party within 5 years of my death, the fortune reverts in full to the Victor Thompson Charitable Foundation. Elena receives sole discretionary control over the charitable remainder as trustee, along with a personal settlement of $10 million for her demonstrated loyalty and character. Silence.
Thick. Heavy.
Marcus's mouth opened.
Closed.
Opened again. No sound came out. The lawyer chuckled. You skimmed it, didn't you? Thought the big number was the end of the story. I watched Marcus's face strain. Ghost white. Hands shaking. He turned to me. Whispered. Elena, please. Tell him to stop this. But I didn't move. Have you ever held someone's entire future in your hands and realized they never deserve it? The begging was just beginning. And what Marcus did next to try to claw it back. That was the part that truly broke my heart all over again. Imagine the man who once sneered, "You're useless," now crawling across polished marble, clutching at your ankles, sobbing like a child. That's what the parking lot outside Mr. Hargrove's office looked like 10 minutes after the reading. Marcus followed me out, dropped to his knees on the asphalt. Rain had stopped, but the ground was still wet. His designer suit soaked through at the knees. Elena, wait.
Please.
I was an idiot. I didn't mean it. I love you. I've always loved you. His voice cracked on every word, tears mixed with snot. He kept repeating, we can start over.
I'll change.
I'll give you half. More than half. Whatever you want. I stood there, arms crossed, looking down at the same face I'd once kissed goodnight.
Short.
Sharp truth. The begging felt good for exactly 3 seconds. Then it felt pathetic. I crouched, so our eyes were level. Quiet.
Come.
Marcus, I said, you didn't just throw me out. You threw away 8 years of me carrying us both. You called me dead weight while I paid for your dreams. And the second money showed up, you believed your own lie, that you were always the prize. He whimpered, reached for my hand. I pulled back. I already signed the papers that morning. Divorce filed. Condition triggered. The foundation would receive the bulk. I'd get my $10 million, enough to disappear, rebuild, Live without looking over my shoulder. He realized it then. Really realized. Wait, no. Elena, please don't walk away rich, while I end up with nothing. I stood up.
Turned.
For the first time in years, the weight was gone. I felt light. Truly light. But before I could reach my car, he screamed one last desperate promise that almost made me pause. He screamed it across the empty parking lot like his life depended on it. Elena, I'll give you everything. The whole 500 million. Just stay married long enough for the money to clear, then you can divorce me. You walk away rich. I keep nothing. Please. I stopped. Car keys in hand. Turned slowly. The offer hung there, desperate, ugly, transparent. He was willing to hand over the fortune he'd just inherited if it meant not losing it to charity. Not because he loved me. Because he couldn't stand being broke again.
Short.
Brutal irony. 24 hours earlier, I was useless. Now I was worth $500 million. I walked back toward him.
Slow steps.
He stayed on his knees, hopeful, wiping his face with his sleeve. When I reached him, I crouched again, close enough to see the fear in his pupils. Marcus, I said softly, do you remember our wedding vows? For richer or poorer, in sickness and in health. You broke every single one the second the check cleared. He flinched. I carried you when we were poor. I believed in you when no one else did. And you repaid me by throwing my life in trash bags. His lip trembled. I was scared. The money, it changed everything so fast. No, I corrected. It didn't change anything. It revealed what was already there. I stood up for the last time. The papers are filed. The condition is triggered. In a few weeks the foundation takes control. I get my 10 million. You get exactly what you gave me, nothing. He lunged forward, grabbed my ankle. Elena, wait. I stepped back. Gentle but firm. Don't touch me again. I turned toward my car. Engine started. Radio low. Some old song playing that we used to dance to in the kitchen. As I pulled out of the lot, I glanced in the rearview mirror. Marcus still on his knees. Head in hands. Rain starting again. Alone. For the first time in 8 years, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. But months later, when the final settlement check cleared and I was packing to move across the country, one last message popped up on my phone from an unknown number. It was a voice note. His voice. Broken. Pleading. And what he said next almost made me pick up the phone. What if the voice note that almost made me turn the car around wasn't an apology at all? I hit play in my new apartment 3 states away. Marcus's voice came through, hoarse, defeated. Elena, I know you hate me. You should. But Victor left me one more thing. A letter. Sealed. He said open it only if I lost everything. I just did. He paused, breathing ragged. Dad wrote that he knew I'd screw it up. Knew I'd hurt you. The condition wasn't punishment, it was protection. For you. He said you were the daughter he never had. That if I ever came crawling back, to read this to you. So here it is. His voice cracked as he read Victor's words. Elena, if you're hearing this, my son failed the only test that mattered. Take the money. Build something beautiful. Live the life I wish I'd given my wife before she passed. Forgive him if you can, but never go back. You deserve the world. And now you have the means to take it. Silence on the recording. Then Marcus whispered, I'm sorry. For everything. I sat on the floor. Tears came not for him. For Victor. For the father-in-law who saw me when his son never did. Months later, I started a foundation in Victor's name. Scholarships for single women in healthcare. Quiet. No fanfare. Marcus? Last I heard, he was back to couch surfing. No big comeback. No revenge plot. Just consequences. Money doesn't buy character. It only rents the spotlight long enough to show who you really are. So tell me in the comments, have you ever had someone show their true colors the second the stakes got high? Drop I'm free if you've walked away from toxicity like I did. If this story hit you, smash that like button, subscribe for more real-life twists that karma delivers, and turn on notifications. Next one? Even wilder. Thanks for staying till the end. You just witnessed what real justice feels like.